There's a lot of fingers to point. There's a lot of blame to be given out. But are you ready to hit the panic button yet, Eagles Nation? That's the questions of the day. It's really tough to overreact to a devastating Eagles loss when it happened 3 days ago. But we're going to do it. We're live talking Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, whatever you want to talk about. We're live for 90 minutes in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. We're live, YouTube and Twitter, you know the drill. Wherever you're watching, hit that like button. Hit the share button on social media platforms and subscribe to the STT Sports Network YouTube page, sitting at 890 subscribers, still just hovering under 900. Can't quite get over that 900 mark. Let's do our best to get there today. It's free. It doesn't cost a dime to support your local favorite content creators by just hitting those buttons. It helps so much, and I don't think people realize it. So do that. And, of course, wherever you're watching on YouTube or Twitter, make sure you head to the YouTube page to vote on our poll question of the day. Today's question is very simple. Well, it's not simple. It's very complicated. Who is most to blame for the Eagles' recent struggles? Sirianni, Hurts, Patullo, or Fangio? We're going to get into each and every one of them and why each and every one of them, in my opinion, deserves a portion of the blame today, because I do think they all deserve blame. So let's get into it today. Obviously, the Eagles came off a pretty disappointing, pretty frustrating 24-15 loss to the Chargers on Black Friday, and we're here to overreact to it. Poll question has no right answer. You win and lose as a team, but you judge the head coach on the ability to make right a ship under less than ideal circumstances. See, I think it does have no right answer, but I think that there is a way to debate why each and every one of them have a portion of the blame. It's not all on just Kevin Patullo. It's not all on Jalen Hurts. It's not all on Nick Sirianni. And nobody's blaming Vic Fangio. And it is on him as well. So, look, I see a whole bunch of Flyers comments from you Nooms. Look, I love your love of the Flyers, but I can't tell you that I watched any Flyers this weekend. Literally have no clue what's going on with them. I've already kind of moved slightly on from them this season. The problem is that they are trying to appease AJ instead of playing the style of football that has made them successful. Warfighter, look, you can point blame at AJ Brown for sure. Appeasing him is part of it. For sure, his drama, off the field is part of it, for sure. There's only room on the poll question for four names, or maybe I would have added A.J. Brown. If that's the case, if they are trying to appease A.J. Brown, and that's the real problem that this offense is having, then that, to me, would be on Nick Sirianni. That would point the finger at Nick Sirianni for allowing that to be a problem. Good morning, Adam. Go Chargers. What? We don't want to root for the Chargers. They're our next opponent. Panthers helped us out. Absolutely, Rams losing to the Panthers yesterday. That's huge. That helps the number one seat stay in our reach. And now the Bears have the number one seat. Who would have thought? Why would you blame AJ? He's the only one keeping Eagles accountable. That's untrue. Not at all. You did choose Sirianni, okay. And I think Nick Sirianni, quite frankly, does deserve more blame than Kevin Patullo to an extent for this season so far. Again, I'm not saying the season's over. I'm not saying we're washed. I'm not saying that there's no way to recover. But the current way that this team is playing, there's definitely a downward spiral happening. And I understand why people think it feels like 23 all over again. I get it. I feel it too. I just, don't think it's over yet. But we got to figure out why it's gotten to this point before it can be fixed. Happy Monday, fire Patullo. Well, it might happen. Look, I already got the title and the graphics set up, ready to go live as soon as the news breaks later today. I don't think it's going to break. I don't think it's going to happen. It should, but it's not going to, and I'm prepared if we need to. That Sixers game was crazy. Another disappointing loss for the Sixers, a game they should have won. Double overtime losing that game. Poor shooting night for Tyrese Maxey. Joel Embiid, I was kind of shocked he played the first overtime, but it's interesting. Can't believe Panthers wrecked the Rams. I mean, the Panthers are a good team. AJ isn't holding them accountable. He just wants his numbers. He's been quiet last 2 games because he got his. He's much more manageable when his stats are rolling in, right? His personality is more manageable when his stats are rolling in. That's for sure. Eagles second best in NFL, or are they better than the Rams? Well, we've beaten the Rams 3 times in the last 2 years, so I would say we're better than the Rams. What's up, Susan? How you doing today? If I was the defense, I would play like I didn't give an F, knowing the offense ain't going to be shit. Have to get right back on the field. Good morning, by the way. Okay, yeah, good morning. Look, I appreciate your comment, but I am on a completely different plane of thought than you. How does the defense give up 28 first frickin' downs, all right, and get no criticism? Look, I know the offense stunk. The offense kept putting them back on the field. But man up and make a fucking play. Get off the field. Make one stop. That game was a lot closer than it looked score-wise. And the defense got marched up and down the field. And no one wants to point any fingers at the defense. That was one of the worst defensive performances. You had a quarterback in Caleb Williams. This is not a knock on Caleb Williams. He's impressed me more than I thought he would this year. But that ain't no special offense. He gave up 200-yard rushers again. He just got marched up and down on. Vic Fangio and his great defense. And Caleb Williams completed less than 50% of his passes. Less than 50%. You have 281 rushing yards. Defense deserves blame. I do not blame the defense for the Chicago game. It was 10-9 in the 4th. They just were out of gas. Bears had double touch. Yeah, look, I get it. But they were still, you got to give them blame. Not the number one blame, maybe, but they deserve blame for not being able to get off the field. Come on. The Hawks are very good. I knew Trae Young was out, and I knew Porzingis was out. I didn't think they were that good without those guys, but well-coached basketball team the Hawks were last night. Very well-coached team. He isn't going anywhere, unfortunately. In our offense, keeps shit in the bed, and Sirianni doesn't do anything, then I'm going to start saying fire Nick. Look, it's an interesting comment. There's 2 realms of thought on Nick Sirianni. 1, leads in 22 and 24. Super Bowl runs, 1 resulting in a Super Bowl championship. He also ran the team into the ground in 23 and looks to be doing it again in 25. So 2 huge seasons sandwiched around 2 disaster seasons. Which way who's the real Nick Sirianni? 23 and 25 or 22 and 24? Who is he? At least we have till Monday night to play. Yeah, I mean, it gives us time to make that change at coordinator if we wanted to. 200-yard rushers for the Bears, just horrible. Exactly. Let's throw some shade on Vic Fangio's defense. Let's throw the fact that the Bears' offensive line pushed them around like a bunch of babies. We count on you to break down why offense is stalled out. There's so many reasons why the offense is stalled out. There's so much wrong. It's the players not executing. It's the injuries on the offensive line. It's, what's our record without Lane Johnson? It's Jalen Hurts stinking on Friday. Jalen Hurts had his worst game in the last 2 or 3 years on Friday. The play calling stinks. Even on a couple, I've talked about it multiple times on Kevin Patullo. How his schemes suck. You got players running into each other all the time. On 2, I forget which plays. One was the rollout to the right where he dumped it off to either AJ or Devontae for a big game down the sideline. And there was another one. 2 big plays that probably were poorly schemed up. They just got lucky that they worked out. Where wide receivers were running into each other. It happens all the time, even on good plays. Usually that the D would get owned by Caleb. Caleb didn't own the defense. It's the two running backs that did. Good morning, Elephant in the room. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving weekend. The offense did nothing. And the offense is more to blame, for sure. Susan, I'm not saying they're not. I just want people to realize the defense was dog trash on Friday. Like, I don't think people realize how bad the defense really was. Foles thinks Patullo should go upstairs to call plays. I saw that relaunch. I did. Patullo during previous games previously was in the booth. You get a better feel of what the defense is doing upstairs. There's different trains of thought on that. Some say it's better. Some people don't. I don't know whether it would help or not. Nick Foles says it would. I don't know. If he's calling the plays, I kind of feel like he should be on the field talking to people. But you don't even see Nick or Kevin Patullo talking to Nick or Jalen in between drives and stuff like that. This team is far from a number one seed caliber team. They're not playing like it, Steve. And what's up? I hope you had a great holiday, Steve. Yeah. They're not playing good. They're playing at a point where I don't have faith in them beating the Chargers this upcoming week. None whatsoever. Only 9 points in 4. D did nothing wrong. The dam just broke. Look, the defense gave up almost 300 rushing yards, almost 30 first downs. What do you want me to say? That's bad. The offense deserves the blame until they can stay on the field. Okay, and then who's to blame for the offense? Is it Sirianni's fault more? Is it Hurts's fault more? Is it Patullo's fault more? Right now, early voting has Sirianni as the top person to blame. And I agree with that. I think it's Sirianni first. And you know I'm a Sirianni guy. Well, maybe you don't, but the majority know I'm a Sirianni guy. Sirianni's at risk of getting fired the year after winning a Super Bowl. Why? Because would be, if they can't right the ship, this would be the second epic collapse in a couple years. So the offense definitely needs to take the blame. I do not want to hear the Tanner McKee jokes, the sarcasm or whatnot. I think it's laughable. But how is Tank Bigsby on the field for one play? He was on the field for one play, and he didn't touch the ball on that. Will Shipley, 3 plays. How is that even humanly possible? Saquon Barkley doesn't have anything, yet you keep trotting him out there every single play. And I'm not saying Saquon needs to go away, but you got to mix it up. You got to call something different till it works. And I fully expect Pump Man to show up this morning. Exactly. Even though they gave up all those rushing yards, sounds familiar. We were doing that to teams all last year. They got gassed. Yeah, they did to us what we did to everybody last year, right? Absolutely. And I get that. And when you gas a defense, the offense starts humming along even more. I get it. But we're supposed to have an elite defense. This is a defense that held the Packers and Lions combined to under 20 points a couple weeks ago. And you couldn't get off the field 1 or 2 times against the Bears? That's a big part of it. Is Hurts regressing because he missed passes with players open? He always has wide receivers open but doesn't see them. Look, Jalen Hurts, is he regressing? I don't think that is the case. I think he's having a down season, sure. The missed pass to Devontae Smith, he connects on that 9 times out of 10. What I hate is the fact that you hear about how they just weren't on the same page. A lot of what you hear about the mistakes comes down to practice. Are they not practicing well anymore? Are they not practicing right anymore? Practice makes perfection, and they're not perfecting anything. I think Nick Foles is onto something when he said, put KP up in the skybox. Yeah, I mean, I just don't know. I saw the quote from Nick Foles. I didn't get it. I don't know if he went into detail about why. I've always hated the booth thing. I want my coaches on the sideline with the players. I don't even like Vic Fangio up there doing it. But I guess if you've got great assistants, then it can work, maybe. Force a turnover, Fourth down stop, Caleb 14 of 35. There's a game like that for almost every defense every year, unless fallout, unless it becomes a habit. Out physical, it happened in a physical game. The defense was out physical, beyond belief. If it happens again, sure, call it out. See, I think they kind of need to be called out the week before against Dallas as well, the defense. What's the chances we lose 3 in a row? Very likely. It's a very big possibility. Wonder if Broncos fans are complaining about their barely beating the Commanders. I know, and I fell asleep before the end of that game. I ain't gonna lie. Glad, because I don't know if I could have made it to overtime. Patullo, as a passing game corner, sat in the booth away from distractions. Yeah, but he wasn't also calling the plays. Hurts doesn't want to run anymore, and his arm isn't good enough to not be willing to run. Well, I don't know about if his arm is not good enough, okay? But yes, there is a theory and a conversation to be had that there's reports out there from multiple beat reporters that Jalen Hurts is asked not to run the ball as much. The injuries, I mean, I guess maybe there is something to it. I wonder if he literally went up and said, I don't want to do it. Maybe we got to stop looking to blame and try to start looking for the solution. But that's the thing. You got to figure out what the problem is, which is blaming somebody, before you can solution. You got to figure out the problem to solve the problem. We don't know what the problem is. Is it Jalen Hurts and Kevin Patullo? Is it Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo? Is it each individual? Like, what is the number one problem to solve it? Cowboys and then Bears is shocking when your Eagles lost 2 in a row. Earlier this year, we lost 2 in a row. Sirianni is most to blame. What's up, Jason? How you doing this morning? Patullo is bad, but a lot of Friday was execution and not scheme. And I keep asking it, like, has there ever been a coach that has led a team on 2 epic runs and then led the team on 2 epic collapses, all in a 4-year span? Just think about it. The highs and lows of the Sirianni era are out of control. Like, really, legitly, the highs and lows are out of control. And I don't know if my blood pressure can handle all these highs and lows constantly from Nick Sirianni. Patullo is still bad. But a lot of what you hear from the players on the why it's not working well, to me, it translates to what they're doing in practice. The practice isn't going well enough to then execute on Sunday or Friday and Monday and Thursday and every other day. Hurts makes enough to buy Philadelphia. He better run more. Well, there's that too, yes. Maybe the players went Black Friday shopping before the game. Maybe they ate too much turkey the day before. Bring Foles in as OC. I don't know if Foles has any inclination to be a coach of any kind. Never heard him talk about that. I wouldn't be against, if you want a former quarterback that's out there, go get Josh McCown. I think he's a quarterback coach somewhere. Go get Dan Orlovsky wants to coach now. Go get Dan Orlovsky if you want to. But something's got to change on who's in charge of the offense. OH, are you talking about Ohio? Play Chargers, yes. And Philip Rivers broke his non-throwing hand last night. He thinks he's going to play, but he's going to have surgery today on it. It was obvious Blank wasn't healthy. Absolutely obvious. It was obvious the run fitting was in the wrong gaps. Even Jacoby over-pursued. Sean Payton can coach. Yeah, look. Well, Sean Payton isn't the coach of the Bears. But, yeah, look. Everybody was bad on the defense. Blank was not healthy at all, obviously. Reed Blankenship still led the defense in tackles. And when your safety, in a game where you give up almost 300 rushing yards, and your safety leads your team in tackles, 14 tackles I think it was, that tells me the running backs weren't just getting past the line. They're getting past the linebackers as well, which means your defense stunk. The Bears' first drive had runs of 5-5, 23-5, and finally 3 yards for a touchdown. They weren't gassed. They just got whipped. Absolutely. Everyone's like, oh, the defense was gassed. What was the excuse for the first 2 or 3 drives? They marched down the field, K1, every single drive. So, yeah, they were gassed by play 85 when the game ended. Were they gassed on play 2, 3, and 4? It was a pathetic effort from the defense just as much. Hurts, if you don't want to run 100 yards a game passing, what? We want Foles. Philip Rivers is back. Let's go. What? Philip Rivers is back. Did I say Philip Rivers? Ben Johnson and Sean Payton. Oh, you're talking about who? Okay, I got you. I thought you were talking about something else. I thought you just said that Sean Payton was on the Bears. Is it bad that Campbell is not getting a lot of playing time now? But Jahad Campbell isn't getting playing time, like a lot of playing time. He got 0 playing time. 0 defensive snaps on Friday. Coincidentally, it was the game that our defense got gashed the most. Look, I get it. Nakobe Dean is a Vic Fangio guy. Vic Fangio loves him some Dean. And I get you want to keep Nakobe Dean on the field. I do. Let me tell you something. You can't get Jahad Campbell. There was not one. The Eagles had 10 draft picks last year. Not one of them played a snap this past week. Not one of the 10 draft picks was on the field, except for on special teams this past week. Multiple of them were inactives. Healthy scratches. It's not good. But coincidentally, our record with Campbell playing more than Dean is much better than our record with Dean playing more than Campbell. Just saying. Did you actually watch the game? They didn't score on their first drive. They didn't score on the first. They got gashed from drive 1. Okay? Drive 1, they were getting gashed. Vic didn't have them prepared to play. Vic was ill-prepared on to stop the run, and he had no way. Something that Vic Fangio is known for is adjustments, right? Even though he says there's too much made of adjustments in-game. Vic Fangio found no answer to stop that run attack. How did Philip Rivers injure his Philip Rivers did not hurt himself. Justin Herbert did. Broke his hand. He got hit in the game. It's going to have surgery on it today. He claims he'll play on Monday night, but he's got a fracture in his non-throwing hand from the game on Sunday. First scoring drive. Yeah, they were getting gashed, K1, from the get-go. Campbell did his job in the first 9 games as a rookie. It is incredibly difficult to start as a rookie in this league. It is incredibly difficult. But coincidentally, well, guys, we're over 20 people right now watching. And make sure you're hitting that like button, you're subscribing if you haven't, you share this out, and you vote on our poll question of the day. I just find it odd that all of a sudden, once Campbell's not out there, all of a sudden the defense is struggling a little bit more. I'm always looking for coincidences. That's a coincidence. That's a quinky-dink. Look, I'm not saying, I'm a huge Nakobe Dean fan. I think there's a big question there on what to do. But you're telling me you can't get him out there for 5? Your defense is gassed, and you can't sub in Campbell for a drive to rest somebody, to try to change something, just as much as you don't want to put. Just as much as you don't want to. I just lost my total train of thought there on what I was going to do there. Anyway, next question. Never question K1. Yeah, is that right? Our team's problem is not the defense. They were the saviors for a lot of games. Concentrate on the offense, people. All right, I get that. The offense is worse off than the defense. But the defense is not clean. Their hands are not clean of this, okay? I'd rather have Campbell out there than Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham played how many snaps? Like 5 or 6? Brandon Graham should not. There's a reason why Brandon Graham retired. I love Brandon Graham. A legend. Will be it is one of the greatest of all time in Midnight Green. Brandon Graham, there's a reason why he retired. He should go back to retirement, quite frankly. And you can't give his 5 snaps to Jahad Campbell. Makes no sense. There's way too much made of adjustments. And that's what Vic Fangio said. Well, then there's not enough made of preparation for the game. The defense was ill-prepared. Vic Fangio did not know how to solve what was being thrown at him. Swift looked like an MVP on Friday. Both right. The rookie looked like the rookie of the year, and Swift looked like an MVP. They both just ate all day long. And not in a good way or in a bad way. Like, it's like, did they not eat enough on Thanksgiving that they had to eat our defense alive? 10 thumbs. We're up to 12 thumbs now. Hit those buttons, guys. 47, 281 against the run. Not a problem at all. Exactly. It's all the offense's fault, K1. 47 rushes for 281 rushing yards. That is 100% all the offense's fault. Literally. Has nothing to do with Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Moro Ojomo, Jalen Phillips, Nakobe Dean, Zach Bond. How many times I saw Zach Bond take bad angles at a ball carrier? You know how many missed tackles there were on Friday? Has nothing to do with the offense. Zero to do with the offense. Campbell is way too hesitant against the run, but his style may have prevented some of the over pursuits. They were running many counters. They did counter a lot. Yes, I get that. And a couple of their big rushes were on that. But if what you're doing isn't working, your job as the coach is to make a change, to try to get something to work. Okay? And you made no adjustments. You didn't even try anything different on defense. Look, yes, the offense is a problem. Yes, it's a problem. But the defense is as well. That defense ain't stopping the Rams in the playoffs. That defense ain't stopping any team in the playoffs. If you hate for, I know you hate me for mentioning this, but you need to watch Stranger Things. Thank you. You know what? We watched Beast of Me, and then this weekend we watched Black Rabbit with Jason Bateman and Jude Law on Netflix. And before we started that on, let's say today's Monday, so I think we started that on Saturday and we're finished it already. It was so good. I'm like, do you want to start Stranger Things? And my wife looked and she's like, I don't remember what happened either. So I don't know. Maybe we'll watch it this week. We'll see. Or we'll wait till it's all done and then we'll watch it all once. Blame the towelboy for all the problems. Look, everybody's to blame. Maybe he didn't dry the towels enough and they had a little bit of moisture still on them or some chemicals from the laundry detergent and that got in their face and slowed them down. It was 10-9 in the fourth. You're all focused on the wrong side of the ball. No, I want to focus on the offense because there is a much bigger issue on the offense, Warfighter. There is. It's just something that somehow has magically slid into this defensive conversation because no one understands there is a problem on defense. All right? There is. There's a big problem on defense. A bigger problem on offense, but there is a big problem on defense. Exactly, War. What? Yeah. Look, there is a problem. I'm not trying to disregard the problem. I want Kevin Patullo gone too. My girl was watching Stranger Things when I was watching the Eagles. She chose better, probably. Dude, speaking in absolutes doesn't make it more true. You're way more likely to err under fatigue. It may not explain everything, but come on. I get it. Fatigue was a problem. Fatigue wasn't the problem in the first quarter, second quarter, where you're getting marched on still. Get off the field in the first or second quarter quicker, and they don't have 85 plays. You might not be as gassed. I do like how Phil is holding team accountable. Look, the entire team this should be equal. It should be all of the above. There should be a fifth poll question, all of the above. That's what it should be. The fact that Jalen Hurts is the lowest voted person of the problem, of the blame for this poll today, it's embarrassing. Jalen Hurts is massively to blame for the loss. Black Rabbit is good. It was such a good show. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Jason Bateman. I mean, he's just arguably Jason Bateman might be one of the most underrated actors in all of Hollywood. He really is. Patullo and Sirianni and Vic need to listen to the fans and get their problems solved. Yeah? Well, they don't need to listen to the fans. They need to listen to what they see on tape. That's just not working. Awesome, K1. Freaking awesome. I hear a lot of people talking about it. We're 0-2 since you sold the shop. I know. We are 0-2, the Eagles, since I sold my pizza shop. The Cowboys are 2-0 since I sold the pizza shop. I am to blame. I am even to blame for the last 2 weeks. 100%. I am part of the problem. I bet you if I called, he'd offer it back to me right now for a tenth of what I got in return for it. But yeah, he's texting me right now. The problem is, AJ, you say you look for coincidences. Well, it's no coincidence that we have started a slide in 23 and now right after he opens his mouth. Look, the locker room issues, Warfighter, the real deal. And the leadership better step up in that locker room to make sure it doesn't complete because it's only 8-4. We're only entering our week 14 here, okay? Plenty of time to right the ship. You got 2 Washington games. You got the Raiders. There should be 3 more wins on the schedule. You can right the ship very easily. Chargers don't look phenomenal. But the leaders better open up and right the ship really quickly. Absolutely. Ozarks was phenomenal. Same with the rest of it. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I only thought Bateman was Arrested Development, the comedy guy. Let me tell you something. Ozark, everything that he does is just phenomenal. And he plays serious roles so well. So well. The Stiefel effect, it's a real thing. Bateman is so plain but so good. How is that? I love that explanation. He's so plain but so good. I don't think he's as plain as we think he is. We are in the AI era. It was way easier to diagnose tendencies now. It's another factor contributing team evolution and adaptation. The AI, what does AI have to do with that? It's a team effort for blame. Can't just point to one person or one side of the ball. And that's what I'm trying to get at today, Marky Mark. That is what my main point. Do we need to hit the panic button? Maybe. But we got to figure out what the problem is. And the problem is that the whole team from top to bottom is underperforming. And that's why Nick Sirianni deserves so much blame right now. Nick Sirianni has one job. He's the CEO head coach. His one job is to keep the team together, to keep the big picture, the vision, and everybody on that same page. And it's not working. Changing play callers isn't going to make Jalen Hurts complete passes or run for first downs. Changing the players on the field isn't going to change that. Curse of the 10. It's the curse for sure. We need AI players to help the team. We might. When AJ said the Super Bowl really meant nothing, he said a lot. I can't be the only one who raised an eyebrow. Like, I didn't raise an eyebrow. I looked at that as, well, he wants another one and another one and another one. And that was a great philosophy to move on to the next one. But now I'm seeing it that, yeah, he just wants the glory and all the attention. And look, you might get your way, Warfighter. He might be gone after this year. I don't know. We'll see. Depending on how this turns out, you might have to make that change. Most blame is Sirianni. Laurie should have had an experienced OC, knowing that Nick's philosophy is limited. Nick has a different concept of an offensive scheme than a Ben Johnson or Sean McVay. Yeah, absolutely. And look, we questioned it right from the get-go of the offseason that Kevin Patullo is going to be the guy, but why was he going to be the guy? Why should he be the guy? Who else was looked at? And we've talked about this. And yes, you need a Vic Fangio as your OC. Now, Frank Reich is available right now. Do you bring him in as a consultant right now, Frank Reich, this week, and then turn the reins over in the offseason to him? Maybe. That might be the answer. And that gives Nick Sirianni someone he's familiar with and he likes, but also gives the team and the fans the experience we think this team needs. Oh, stop, Marshawn. Put a big smile on your face, bro. Here comes our little ray of sunshine. Exactly. I'm waiting for Pump Man's negativity. And I don't know if Rick will be coming in positive or negative today. Wonder if Jeffrey Lurie or Howie Roseman had a say in what Sirianni said about not moving on from Patullo. I don't know. The fact, and again, here's my problem with Nick Sirianni. After the game, Nick Sirianni was asked, are you going to consider making a change with the play caller? And Nick Sirianni didn't hesitate in saying, no. That's it. No, we are not making a change. Now, Nick Sirianni, if they do make a change, looks like an idiot, like a nitwit, like he has no control over the team. That it would come from Lurie or Roseman. All right? Nick Sirianni coming out and just saying flat out, no, I'm not making a change. Now makes things so much more difficult. Optics and wording and choice of words matters. I talk about this so often. The optics of that comment can backfire so bad on Nick Sirianni. If they go out and make a change today, if he hasn't lost that locker room, it's going to start to lose that locker room. Because they're going to be like, look, our own coach isn't in charge of this team. So why should we listen to him? Right? All Nick Sirianni had to do was say, when asked about it, I don't know. The game just ended. We've got a lot of evaluations to do, and we're going to find out what the problem was and how to fix it. And then look, you give yourself an out if you need to make that out. Stop pointing fingers at AJ. AJ is not narcissistic. He is a little bit. He is a little bit. Fire Sirianni, bring in Dable. No, I do not want Brian Dable. Not as a head coach, that's for sure. He didn't say he wanted another Super Bowl. He said it was fulfilling to him. The only thing that fulfills him is his performance. Yeah. Look, I tried to spin it, off the high of the Super Bowl in a positive way. In hindsight, it definitely was not positive. That's what I'm trying to get at. Not speaking to you, Phil, but fans thinking AJ about self. He is. Every diva wide receiver, every wide receiver, period, even if they're not a diva, even if they're not elite, think like a diva. Every wide receiver wants the ball. It's such a tough position. You're out on an island by yourself, 70 plays, you get the ball, less than 10% of it. It's a tough role, and they all think that they should get it every play, and they all think that they're open every play. Nah. Blaming everyone but the player with 2 turnovers, one being deep in Bears territory. Look, yeah. And I have blamed Jalen Hurts, Marshawn. I said earlier in the show before you joined the chat, does just changing play callers make him complete that pass to Devontae Smith? The tush-push turnover? I don't know. Earlier this year, that would have been called, forward progress or a touchdown or whatever it was. It wasn't on the goal line. It was a little before the goal line. The interception, yeah. Look, Jalen Hurts has not been good the last couple weeks, most of this year. There ain't no doubt about it. I'd much rather move on from a coach than an elite quarterback because quarterbacks don't grow on trees. You watch the NFL, how much bad quarterbacking we've seen around there. So moving on from Jalen Hurts doesn't make sense. But yeah, he's been bad. Been very bad. The amount of anticipation bias with AJ's unreal. I don't understand it either. Anticipation bias? We're anticipating? What are we anticipating? Better yet, check out Joker 2 and skip straight to Lady Gaga music interview. Yeah, I haven't seen Joker 2 yet. Joker 1 was very good. Joker 2 I heard was pretty bad. The joke was on the fans. Yeah. There's zero nuance to the shove anymore. Run something off it. Stop going up the middle every single time. I also read, and I forget what I read, about who's pushing and where they're pushing from has changed in the last couple of weeks. And I don't know if that has something to do with it. Who or where they're pushing from has changed. 2 Commanders and a Raiders should cheer you up. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're not playing good enough to beat the Commanders or the Raiders right now. I mean, the Raiders are really bad. Phil has reached the bargaining stage of the Jalen Hurts stages of grief. The bargaining stage? No. I'm just honest on how I feel. Blaming everyone but the running back that took the money and can't run with it and see. Yeah, I see what you did there. Slide right, slide left, pass. Joker 1 was taxi driver in makeup. Yeah. Okay. Again, Nick setting himself up to be let go. Lori hired an experimental guy to head coach his team, and Patullo another experiment. 25 like 23, and 21 of inexperienced play callers. I find it hard to think that Nick Sirianni could get fired, but Nick Sirianni's going to have to look to the past to not get fired, Jonathan. The past being Doug Peterson not wanting to move on from his guy got him fired. If Nick Sirianni learned anything from the past, he'll know that when Jeffrey Lurie and Howard Roseman go to him and be like, yo, it's either Patullo or you. Or are you willing to fall on the sword for Patullo? And if Nick Sirianni says yes, then Nick Sirianni and Patullo will be gone. And that's not good. It's crazy that we're in this position with Nick Sirianni. He's led 2 Super Bowl runs, one resulting in a Super Bowl championship in just the last couple years. But he's on the cusp of leading the second collapse in the last couple years. He's got the highest winning percentage in the Eagles' history. The guy's a stud, statistically speaking, as a coach. But yet, how many coaches have had this many highs and this many lows in such a short window? It's really crazy when you think about it. How this team and how this this organization has run under his leadership. It's really just pure insanity, to be honest with you, in my opinion. The highs and the lows here. They'll fire Sirianni and hire Patullo. Oh my God, that would be. Is this like April Fool's Day or something? Like that one would be something. Honestly, if they did fire Sirianni, it would probably be one of the most sought-after jobs in NFL history. You got a team that just came off a Super Bowl a year prior. You got a quarterback. You got wide receivers. You got a running back. You got a defense. Like, you've got so many pieces in play. Coaches would be lining up to take the Eagles' job. There's never been a team so up and down. Look, we're disagreeing on a few things today, but we can 110% agree on this. Like, the highs and the lows from this organization over the last 4 years. It's ridiculous. Like, it boggles the mind how high and low this team has been. And how it's torn apart the fan base so much over the last 4 years. It really is. Is it on Sirianni when the O-line can't even get lined up correctly? Look, that was the previous game. When you had Matt Pryor not lining up correctly. Well, I mean, is it on Sirianni? I mean, technically it's on Stoutland, but who employs Stoutland? That's Sirianni. That's a practice. And that's something I said at the beginning of the show. That something is going wrong at practice every week. I want to know what the practice process is like for this team. Because every comment you hear from players is, well, like 2 weeks ago, we didn't know that the Cowboys were going to run a 5-man front. You know, lining up incorrectly. Execution. Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith not on the same page. Communication. Practice. Something that Nick Sirianni is so high on. Is not being done well enough to execute on Sundays, Fridays, whatever day of the week it is. The practice routine of this team might need change. Joe Thurney didn't look bad at all this game. He was forced to be a tackle in last year's Super Bowl. I cannot stress how much that impacted the game. As a guard, he was very good on Friday. Look, the Eagles' offensive line is still a massive issue as well. Lurie will never find another coach if he fires Sirianni. Stop. Oh, absolutely he would. People would line up to coach the Eagles with the talent on this roster. All right? But, yeah, there's something to it. If he did let go of them, letting go of, 2 Super Bowl head coaches in like a 10-year span, there's something to that. Is it on Sirianni when Jalen could have ran for first down on 3rd and short? I don't know. Is it? I don't know. If this was Pittsburgh, Nick is safe, but we saw Doug's tenure and the decision made of him that gave first championship under Lurie. Yeah, it's crazy. Is it on Sirianni when Jalen and AJ go rogue? No, it's not. It's not. And I'm not saying it is. I am blaming Patullo, but I'm looking at the players more. What's up, Big Al? Happy anniversary to you and your wife this weekend. I get it. The thing is, Big Al, I wish YouTube allowed more than 4 options on a poll question, because I would have as the 5th everybody as the 5th option, or all of the above as the 5th option, because everybody is to blame. We're all here fighting over this, when in reality, everybody on this organization, from Jeffrey Lurie straight down to the towel boy, needs to be to blame. He used too much, the softener in the laundry on the towels, and that had something to do with it. How about when Saquon runs into his blockers? That on Nick? It's on Stoutland. It's on the players. It's on Saquon. Absolutely. That's the point of the show. Maybe it is time to smash the panic button, Marshawn, because there's literally not one player on this organization this year that's 110% not. There's not one player on this team that doesn't have any ounce of blame. Everybody's got at least 1% of blame. Al Michaels was talking crap about his fans for booing a Super Bowl champ team that's 8-3 at the time. He doesn't. Look, yeah, Al Michaels is a joke. Cartoon character of his former self. One of the greats of all time. But it's just classic national media. The easy thing to do is crap on the Eagles fans. Eagles fans deserve to boo. Eagles fans deserve to walk out on that game and that team. That performance, that means you haven't paid attention to what's going on with this team if you think the fans don't deserve to boo there, right? Al Michaels just digging into the classic bag of tricks on how to rile fans up and how to say something negative about Philly, because saying something negative about the fans, it's the cool thing to do, and it still is. I don't think there's an OC problem. I think there's a quarterback problem. Look, and Rick, and I know you like to make the Tanner McKee jokes, sometimes in jest, sometimes maybe seriously. I get all that. And you know I am a Jalen Hurts guy. But even I know Jalen Hurts has played like shit the last 2 weeks. Now, I'm not moving on from a Super Bowl MVP because the grass isn't always greener when it comes to players. Finding elite quarterback play is a lot harder than finding the next coach to quarterback the elite quarterback, okay? To coach the elite quarterback. But I get it. Jalen Hurts has stunk the last couple of weeks. Kiffin has some balls blaming the Ole Miss AD for not letting him coach the team in the playoffs. Take your pile of cash and take a hike. I didn't even know Lane Kiffin was still a well thought of coach. Like, I don't watch enough college ball. I don't know what he's doing with Ole Miss, but I guess Lane Kiffin getting another big-time opportunity. Good morning, Little G. Hope you're well. Yes, we got to kick some Chargers' butt. Get back on the positive side. Is it on Nick to figure out the problem and fix it? It is on Nick, yes. Nick Sirianni has to figure this out. Nick Sirianni's one job as a CEO head coach is to figure this kind of problem out. And it sends such a bad message when within 1.1 seconds of a question being asked, will you be making a change? Instead of leaving it open-ended, he just says, no, I'm not making changes at play calling. That backs him into a corner. It really does. I'll go a step further, Eagles fan says, and say let's smash the Eagles are collapsing button, and there's nothing they are going to do at this point in the season to fix it. Look, there's a real possibility. We're like, oh, don't worry, you got 2 Washington games and the Raiders coming up. There's 3 more wins. Nothing we've seen from the Eagles team the last 2 weeks says that they're going to win any of those 3 games, right? Then why are we only blaming the coaches? I bet AJ is somewhere smiling that he can contribute to someone's fantasy league. That's 2 different comments right there. That needs to be split up. Yeah. We're not just blaming the coaches. Jalen Hurts is absolutely to blame. Absolutely. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter's to blame. A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, Cam Jurgens, Fred Johnson, Cam Latu. Everybody's Jake Elliott's to blame. I'm not panicking, but I'm getting pissed. I think that's a fair way to put it. I don't know if I'm panicking as much as I'm pissed off because I know this team is better. I know this team is capable of more. Bottom line is Sirianni and his staff must problem solve or not only a collapse will happen, perhaps no playoffs in the Dallas division. That is possible. Maybe Eagles win 4 straight again. Maybe they do. But I know you're spot on here. If they don't problem solve correctly this week, there's going to be something happening. Can some things be fixed? Yes. Will they fix it? Absolutely not. That's the thing. Can they be fixed? Yes. Will they be fixed? I don't know. Saquon is missing holes at times, choosing not to take the hole right in front of him. I believe there's a lack of trust on that hole staying open. Yeah. And we've been blaming the offensive line, Noobs, me and you, more than anybody else for a long time. That's on coaching, not fixing it. That's on some of these guys these coaches not making the adjustments necessary. I for real don't think McKee could be worse than Hurts. There, I said it. Hurts has been that bad. Can he be worse this year? Probably not. Can Tanner McKee be a Super Bowl MVP? We don't know. Are you ready to move on from one MVP to hope someone else can be an MVP? I don't think so. Those reports about the organization not trusting Jalen looks a lot more realistic now. Dude, I'd be shocked if they moved on from Jalen Hurts. Utter shocked. I don't think Jalen has ever been elite. Well, he's a Super Bowl MVP. Jalen Hurts is elite in big games. In week 10 and 12 games, he's as mediocre as they come. Props to the Bears. They took notes on how to stop the tush push. Jalen wasn't saved by a forward progress call this time. Huge part right there, Freddie Defo. He has got to protect the ball when he's not pushing it over the goal line. Absolutely. Absolutely agree with you. What's up, Duck? Good morning. Patullo is the problem. He can't call during the game. No sense of rhythm in game. There's a lot of blame to go around to everybody. Right now, we're 23 votes into the poll. Guys, if you haven't liked or subscribed, do that as well. Nick Sirianni's at 35% of the vote. Jalen Hurts, 22%. Kevin Patullo, 39%. And Vic Fangio, 4%, which means only one person voted to blame Vic Fangio. And I know he's not most to blame, but I think somebody would see it my way on the defense that has more issues than most are willing to admit. And what I just said, Jalen is elite at winning big games, elite at performing on the biggest stage. He's not elite on the tiny stages, right? It wasn't even it was on prime this game. Like Jalen falls short in the smaller moments. It's really weird. You rise in the big moments, you fall short in the low moments. That's a new one. I do know that CJ should still be here. Look, is there any coincidence that if this is a collapse like 23, that the two collapses happen the 2 years CJ's not here, and the two Super Bowl runs happen the years he is here? You had Sidney Brown out there playing atrocious on Friday. CJ was just available. CJ has been on the Bears for like 2 weeks, leads the team in sacks or is second on the team in sacks over the season. Like, you could have gotten CJ. You could have. The world is just moving faster. This is what it looks like. Bears are the 1 seat, and we must acknowledge what it is. I do not acknowledge them as my tribal chief, but I will acknowledge them that they played a damn fine football game. They outclassed us on Friday. How can Nick say Patullo is doing a good job? He must be blind. I don't know if he ever said the words he's doing a good job. I'm not sure about that. The one thing I am sure is that he's definitively said, no, I'm not making a change at play calling. And that definitive statement could really backfire on him. Really backfire him. We're still sitting at just 14 likes despite over 20 people watching the show right now, guys. So hit that like button, subscribe, share. We've gained no new subscribers today. CJ's FaceTime was perfectly hilarious. He didn't disrespect anyone except one person. He just gave a little wink to the camera. Who do you think he was disrespecting? I think everything around Jalen was elite, and now those other positions aren't elite. We're seeing what Jalen really is, and that's just another dude that's not that dude. I can't say that. I can't. In the biggest games, Jalen Hurts comes up so special. He's made every throw necessary when the time has been called upon. He just doesn't do it in the middle of the season. Sirianni has never been so tone deaf in his whole time as head coach in Philly. It's because he's covering for Nepo Buddy. Well, he's going to have to understand, Duck, if he wants to keep his job, he's going to have to let go his buddy. He's going to have to put his friendship aside. If you don't learn from the past, it's doomed to repeat itself. And Doug Peterson was fired for this exact same reason. Quinion is the only consistent player on the team. Absolutely. Quinion Bach is he's special. There's no fix for this. Once the heart of this team, the defense started to let up, then it was collapse 2.0. Look, the defense is what was so bad in 23 as well. Vic Fangio getting no blame. Really, really, really boggles my mind, Marshawn. It really does. I have a loss this week right now. Look, there's no reason you can predict a win. There's no evidence to predict a win. Going on the road, Monday Night Football, you're spiraling. Conspiracy incoming. Lori and Howie is letting this collapse so Sirianni never asks for anything again, preempting a Doug Peterson situation. So they want the collapse to happen so they could fire Kevin Patullo and say, Nick, you don't get that right anymore. I mean, I don't know. I agree with Warfighter. I'm getting pissed about it. I'm pissed off too, yes. Justin Herbert will make a name for himself in the Herbert over Jalen talk. Yeah, man. The Herbert over Jalen talk is going to be fire this week and potentially next week. It really is, Marshawn. And there's a chance that there's a lot of old tweets of mine that are going to be pulled out this week and next week about that. Why is Jalen not getting low on the tush push? He looks like Josh Allen out there. Again, I asked this again. Just perusing quickly through Twitter. I didn't read up on it, but some reporter was writing about how they even pushed differently on the tush push. There's a lot of fundamental things different about the tush push, not just the injuries on the offensive line. So there's a lot of things different about it. If the organization wants to walk away from Hurts this offseason, we'll make it doable, but they will be in cap hell for a season. Yeah, they're not walking away from Jalen. Sorry, it's not happening. I'm sorry, I can't blame this slide on the defense. They kept us from losing 4 in a row. Can't blame Sirianni. It's not like he does anything. I mean, honestly, this week is about is what Sirianni does. Solve these problems. So we're going to learn about Sirianni this week, whether he can solve this problem. When is Hurts going to play like Super Bowl MVP? Through 13 weeks, we haven't seen it. I don't think it's crazy to have the McKee conversation, especially if Hurts plays poorly versus L.A. McKee versus Vegas in Week 15. Look, you make that change at quarterback, Jalen Hurts is as good as gone after the season. If you want to have a phantom injury to give Jalen Hurts a week off, okay, whatever. But you do not bench your Super Bowl MVP quarterback the year after he wins the Super Bowl MVP. You just don't. If it's an injury, it's one thing. But you do not bench your quarterback for McKay. You just don't. The defense is gassed, and the time possession is killing them, and the defense can't carry the offense. The defense wasn't gassed in the first couple drives. The defense gave up almost 300 rushing yards, and they are free because the offense stinks. And I think it's nonsense. Definitely missed the boat on CJ. Definitely. We said it when we lost him this offseason. I'm happy for CJ beating the Eagles and Vic's defense looking like shit without safety help. Yeah. CJ ain't signing back here. He might. He might, honestly. If he wants to win. Sirianni did say he was doing a good job in the post-Dallas presser, unless I remember wrong. Did he? Maybe he did in that one. Is these Jalenites that worship him only because he won the Super Bowl? I'm sorry. Most teams would take Jalen Hurts in a heartbeat because he does win. Championships are what matters. Yes, I have said it. Jalen Hurts has stunk the last couple of weeks. He stunk most of this year. I'm not moving on from him because he stunk. Because I know he's led this team to 2 Super Bowls and won 1. He's played the best football in the big moments. I get it. He has stunk this year, yes. I'm not turning the reins over to an unknown commodity in Tanner McKee. The love and the fascination of the backup quarterback in the city, just like the backup center in this city, backup catcher in this city, the love and fascination of backups in this city is ridiculous. It really is. I get that I'm not big on Jalen, but I can't forget what he's done and given it. He's given this organization everything. The last presser, I think he lost the locker room. He might have. He might have. And if you lose the locker room, you got to get fired. Shouldn't we at least have the chance to see McKay for a quarter? Just look, I get it. And I understand that people want to see the other option. But if you bet, here's what happens, okay? I'm going to look unobjectively at the Jalen Hurts, Tanner McKee conversation here. All right? This is what happens, okay? You know what you have in Jalen Hurts. You know his strengths. You know his weaknesses. You also know that when crunch time comes, more times than not, he's going to win. When the lights are the brightest, he's going to make the big play, right? We don't know what happens, who Tanner McKee is. We've seen him in preseason games and in mop-up duty at Week 18. That's it, right? We don't know who Tanner McKee is. You bench Jalen Hurts in a game or before a game because of his struggles. You turn the keys over to Tanner McKee for 1 game or 1 quarter, and he stinks. You still can't go back to Jalen. Jalen loses credibility in the locker room. Jalen Hurts will say the right things. Oh, you know, I trust with the coach and whatever's best for the team. He'll say the right Jalen-isms, right? Once you go away from Jalen for Tanner McKee, you cannot go back. And there's nothing that has said that we've seen from Tanner McKee that he can be as good or better than Jalen Hurts. The odds are he's probably worse than Jalen Hurts. For every great 6'6" prototype white quarterback in the NFL, I'm not trying to make it about race, but most quarterbacks are white. That's why I said like that. 90% of them fail. Very small percentage of them are good. Defense was more awful than the offense in 23. Offense was elite play calling in 23 as well. 8th ranked offense in 23. I will take 2 more Super Bowls and 1 Super Bowl win in the next years. History can repeat itself as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, exactly, Nooms. And I'm in that boat too. I'm absolutely fine. If we collapse this year, then go back to the Super Bowl next year, I'm perfectly good with it. Jalen does play better in warm climates, so there's that. I don't know. Let's see what his record is as a home versus away and stuff like that. I stopped being angry. I'm just annoyed. I am annoyed. At Nick Sirianni, I'm still taking Jalen over Justin Herbert. Hell, I'll take Dak over Herbert. Yeah, Justin Herbert, man. I was already, people pull bookmarks on me all the time. I put out a post back in October when Drew Brees was bashing Jalen Hurts, and everybody pulled that bookmark out. Little did they realize that they gave me 800,000 impressions in a matter of 24 hours on my Twitter page, so I was able to monetize my Twitter page because of them calling me out. So whatever. There was no need for the tush push in that situation. That isn't all. Yeah, look, yeah. The choice, and I said that early this year, that they try to set the tush push up versus just utilizing it in certain moments. And they tried to set the tush push up there. But anyway, what I was saying on this, Marshawn, is everyone's bookmarked hundreds of my Justin Herbert takes, and a regular season game is going to determine that. Marshawn, football is a team sport. Only reason Jalen won the MVP is because nobody really stuck out, which is straight up evidence on why they won. They won because they were a unit. They were a unit led by Jalen Hurts. Never said forget what he's done, but don't let what he's done blind you from how he's playing or him benefiting from a stacked team and ignoring his limitations. I know his limitations. I accept his limitations. I accept them because what he does well outweighs his limitations. All right? And this whole, well, he only wins because he's got a stacked team argument that you always hear people talking about is the opposite of that. Having a not stacked team is the excuse why other quarterbacks are better than him but don't win like him. Josh Allen doesn't have a stacked team. Justin Herbert doesn't have a stacked team. So having a stacked team holds him back from getting credit. But if he didn't have a stacked team, or those that don't have a stacked team can use it as an excuse. So let's say history does repeat itself. Maybe it can then re-repeat itself. I will take Super Bowl win number 3. I will too. Let's have the same thing happen again. It wasn't Jalen that threw the dagger, Elephant, or kept the chains moving when Saquon had a bad game. I respect your opinion. Yeah, look, Saquon, I get it's a team sport. I do. I still would rather keep Jalen Hurts over the unknown. Peyton Manning was benched once before. Hurts can be benched too. When was Peyton benched? I don't even know that. He did those things, but he's not the one that made a Hall of Fame quarterback look mediocre. Sorry, what? Just put it out there. Hurts is being traded in the offseason. Everyone heard it. No, Jalen Hurts is not being traded. Wouldn't that be a kick in the nuts? Jalen Hurts, not A.J. Brown, is the one traded in the offseason. Like, could you imagine that play out that way? Like, yeah, that's something right there. That would be something. Guys, continue. It's the top of the hour. You're watching Trending in the AM on the STT Sports Network. Like, subscribe, share. We gained 1 subscriber. We're up to 891. We got 21 people watching right now. Only 17 likes. There's 27 votes on the poll. Guys, I need these likes. I need these subscribes. It's December 1st. I'm still 109 away. I had to hit that 1,000 by the end of the year, or I'm going to cry. So, guys, I need your help. Like, share, subscribe, please. I remember when McNabb was benched. McNabb was benched, yeah. 891. It's better than 890. But we hit 891 like 3 times yesterday and kept losing it. Jalen is the real-life Rocky. He gets knocked down all the time, but he just keeps getting back up. Jalen is Philly. Y'all crazy. Exactly. I love that. Jalen is the Rocky. He is the underdog. Jalen embodies what it is to be Philly. Blue collar, hard nose, worker. And I get it. He's been bad and people want to see the shiny toy. But the fascination war fighter with the backups in the city. It's insane. It's insane. The amount of people that love backups. We are really that dense that we don't want a Super Bowl, but we want amazing quarterback stats. Exactly. At least, Marshawn, I'm glad that the conversation is pissing you off to get serious instead of making jokes. And that's the thing. I'm not defending Jalen either. He's been dog trash the last couple of weeks. But I'm not moving on from a Super Bowl winning quarterback that just won the MVP last year because of 2 bad games or 4 or 5 bad games. Not moving on from him for an unknown commodity that probably would suck. That more likely sucks and is great. Saquon had a horrible Super Bowl game, and Jalen threw for 2 and ran for 2. He basically, yeah. I don't want Tanner McKee. I just want wins and not to lose to a mid-Chicago team. let's give Chicago some credit, too. I mean, I don't think Chicago's elite, but yeah. I don't know if they're mid either. You're going to move heaven and earth, get all excited because McKee gets in there, trying to drop back to pass and gets sacked and fumble. Yeah. And then everyone will be like, oh, why? Then everybody will blame Nick Sirianni for losing the team because he benched Jalen Hurts. Are you that superficial that you can't see the bigger problems? This team will not be stacked for Jalen forever. He needs to learn how to play quarterback, not rely on slants and go balls. It's not. They're going to have to make more changes. We've talked about this on this show. That this offseason, now we're over 30 concurrent viewers, and we're riding today. We're riding high today. That the money on the offense is going to have to go to the defense at some point. Absolutely. And yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Still doesn't mean I'm going to Jalen Hurts or to Tanner McKee over Jalen Hurts. Hurts was benched before at Bama. He stayed the following year. Yeah, look, if anybody can handle it, it's him. If anybody can handle it, it's him, for sure. Hey, my man, thank you very much. Muchas gracias for this. I greatly appreciate it. Jalen's limitations. Other quarterbacks have limitations. Allen, Prescott, Goff, all limited to great stats, but are unable to win. The only thing I'll say is Goff at least was in a Super Bowl once. I will say that. Not be my first fantasy quarterback choice, but winning. Yeah, look, fantasy football, fantasy stats have ruined how we evaluate quarterbacks. And we've talked about that so many times. Warfighter, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Means a lot from me. For me. I'm happy to collapse every other year to get to Super Bowl wins. Absolutely agree. We only won one after collapse. We lost the Chiefs the first time. Yeah. How many quarterbacks in the NFL over the last 10 years outside of Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts have been to 2 Super Bowls? Last 20 years, how many have been to 2 Super Bowls? Oh, Aaron Rodgers has only got 1 Super Bowl. Drew Brees has only got 1 Super Bowl win. Look, the fact that we want something else when we've got a guy that's been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, we want him gone. It's crazy. I always wonder why people talk about losing to bad teams. They're still in the NFL. Any given Sunday, right, Suzanne? And look, the Bears don't have the tough schedule we do, but let me tell you something. Bears are a solid team. I wasn't shocked by the time of possession on 3rd and 1, or the tush push on 3rd and 1, but 100% wasn't necessary. I didn't. Yeah, I agree with that. Patullo's dependency on these no plays in the Sirianni playbook. This team is not using anything from the playbook in 22-24. Absolutely agree. So we Jalen won with a stacked team. We were losing because the stacked team is shit. Exactly. Peyton was benched the year he won a Super Bowl for Brock. He had a neck injury his last year. I don't know if he was benched specifically for that, but yeah. Next time I like a stream from you is if the Eagles win. No, like it now. Never said he was the only problem. KP needs to go, but is KP missing wide open players? But the thing is, they're talking about miscommunication and not on the same page. That's coaching. That's practice. That's getting on the same page. Frustrated because I know I can't play. It's the first of the month. It's the first of the month. I love that song on the Crossroads album. If they move on from Jalen, who would they bring in to start? Tanner McKee, according to everybody else, would be better. And that's a joke. I do miss what the read option did for the offense. We did run a read option. There was a Jalen Hurts read option run on Friday, by the way. Tanner McKee is not the answer, though. We don't know that, okay? Haven't been on Twitter for 2 weeks. I need a pat on the back. Good for you. Good for you. I'll give Martian a medal. I'll give him a medal, all right. Again, one final time. Thank you very much, Warfighter. Muchas gracias. If we all got fired for the reasons we want to fire Jalen, we would all be unemployed. Yeah. Problem is that they only calling slants and go routes. And that's on Jalen, only calling slants and go routes. I'm frustrated because I can't play quarterback in the NFL, but Jalen Hurts can't do it either. Why is finding a great quarterback so freaking hard? We have a great quarterback. He's a Super Bowl MVP. He's been to 2 in the last 3 years. Not many people can do that. Al, sports might be the only job where you can suck now because you were good before. Yeah, that's true. Eli, Tom Brady, Eli Manning. Yeah, the number of quarterbacks that have been to 2 Super Bowls over the last 20 years is 4, maybe 5, maybe Peyton Manning too. Most of the quarterbacks that have been to more than 1 Super Bowl over the last 20 years are retired. There's only 2 active quarterbacks. Oh, no, Aaron Rodgers might have been to 2. I know he's only won 1. But Aaron Rodgers has been playing 20-plus years in the NFL. The amount of quarterbacks that go to 2 Super Bowls is so slim. Yet we want to move on from ours. I don't want to get rid of – exactly. Look, there's frustration going around. Every quarterback has limitations. This quarterback isn't good with three-level concepts. I don't think I did. Everything seems to be working good on my end. And I didn't lose internet, by the way, last week. That was just a programming glitch, I think. I reset everything. I disconnected everything, reconnected it, and it was fine to go. And we were still live on Twitter at that point. At least we go more Super Bowls than Romo did. And heck, yeah, exactly. Josh Allen's stat yesterday looked a lot like Jalen Hurts, but Buffalo won the game, and nobody in Buffalo was bitching about stats because they won. Yeah, exactly, Rick. Exactly. Hurts was missing Devontae on those slants all day. He missed one slant pass to Devontae Smith. How can Hurts learn other plays if they don't run them? I don't know. And maybe they're not practicing other plays. Quarterback is nearly impossible position to get perfect. It is. And yet we have the best possible, as close to perfect as we could get, and yet we want to try something else. Why? They threw out the Kellen Moore playbook for sure. They did. They did. You'd have thought we would have learned from the 23 season by bitching about ugly wins, but here we go again. Yeah, absolutely. Collapse postseason started with AJ, the team killer. You're welcome. I appreciate it. It means a lot. It does. Give me $100 million guaranteed, and you can fire me for any time. Yeah. What is Frank Reich up to? He just actually became available this weekend. No lie. And I would consider bringing him in as a consultant right now. And at the end of the season, you turn him into your OC. Go for it. I don't think Hurts' quarterback IQ allow the playbook to be fully unloaded. Watching what Stafford, Williams, Dak do and the plays they are called for them is night and day. You could talk about plays called from every quarterback in the NFL. I don't think it's his IQ. And all those other quarterbacks, Caleb Williams, Dak Prescott, all the other quarterbacks, how much have they won compared? How many Super Bowls has Josh Allen gotten to? So this might be the best point and angle we are not seeing. Now, look, maybe his IQ is not there, but he's still a winning quarterback, okay? So you design an offense. A great coach designs his offense around his players' abilities. We're not doing that. That's the thing. You've got a great quarterback. You got a guy you know you can win with, but you're trying to do everything but. You're trying to put a round peg into a square hole, or vice versa, whatever. Nobody in Buffalo was bitching because they know winter is coming and need to save their complaints. Oh, it's true. It's true. It's true. I ain't going to deny it. Does it really take rocket science to force a quarterback to throw 34 times on a windy day? Yeah, I mean, that was the problem against Dallas as well. As an Eagles fan living in Texas, we cannot let Dallas win the division. My God, I want to move south so bad, but I would never live in Texas, ever, no matter what. That's got to suck for you, and I feel bad for you for that one, for sure, Jess. We do this every morning. You're new to the chat. I don't know if you're new to the show. Make sure you like and subscribe. We go live Monday through Friday, 90 minutes, plus other stuff throughout the week on this channel. And again, give me Nick the Dagger play. Hey, I'm not against even trying Nick Sirianni calling plays, to be honest with you. Hurts was fine in Moore and Steichen coaching. Hell, he was fine under Brian Johnson. Yeah, this strikes a lot of Kevin Patullo as the problem. After the first 4 games of the season, the Eagles were 4-0, averaging 27 points per game, and AJ started bitching and slowly chipped away at the team's cohesion. Look, everybody's to blame, Rick. So I'm allowing you to blame AJ Brown. Literally everybody is to blame at this point. Steve, you are 100% correct. This what the Jalen loves. Don't see that. He cannot run a complex offense. Then don't run a complex offense. When you run the right offense, what happens? He gets to the Super Bowl. He wins the Super Bowl. He outplays the GOAT and Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl when you stay within his skill set. I'm not going to put a pizza maker to cook filet mignon on a grill if he's never done it. I'm going to keep him making pizzas. It's ridiculous that it's Jalen Hurts' fault. Completely. Jalen Hurts is to blame, for sure. But it's ridiculous to think that you want to move on from him to Tanner McKee when we don't know who Tanner McKee is. They never lose 3 in a row. They will get it together. I hope so. I'm okay if there's a collapse and the Cowboys win the division. I only care about playoff wins and Super Bowl wins. They're still at 95% likely to make the playoffs. Hurts' winning ability works in the rest of the NFL, doesn't evolve and get better. they have, though, and the Eagles have been relying on Hurts winning intangibles instead of talent. That's actually a really great comment right there. All right, the NFL is caught up to what the Eagles do. Now it's on Hurts and Sirianni and Patullo to pivot and adjust, but within what his abilities are. Look, yeah, Steve's been spot on today with some of it. AJ had great stats after the past 2 games, but AJ didn't pitch. Yeah, it's true. It's true, Rick. Jalen is fine when he's asked to throw 18 to 21 times a game. His win record when he throws 30 more times a game is actually extremely high. Google it. He's a major winning quarterback when he has to throw a lot. I'm confident Sirianni will turn this thing around, and we will miss out. I am not confident. I thought you said you were confident. I was like, what? That didn't make sense. Not confident Sirianni will turn this around, and we will miss out on the playoffs. That's tough. Muchas gracias, mister. I appreciate you. Quarterback is supposed to follow his progressions. If he is constantly scanning the whole field, we'll mess up the timing. It's the coach's job to get the first or second read open. All good. All strong comments, for sure. And here's the thing. Jalen Hurts gets blamed if he reads his progressions and then takes a sack. Jalen Hurts gets blamed if he takes off and runs and scrambles too quickly. So much blame. And look, I get it. It's the NFL. The quarterback is always going to be the one blamed the most. But this offense is so fundamentally flawed. It can't be all on Jalen. And putting Tanner McKee out there ain't going to change the problems. It might make the problems worse. Thank you very much, Mr. War Games today, coming in huge for this unemployed man. If they moved on from Hurts and McKee comes in, then A.J. Brown stays, and he is happy. God forbid. Google broken window theory. A.J. is the broken window. I think he is a good guy off the field, but that doesn't cancel out his impact on this football team. When A.J. Brown's focused and when things are going well, A.J. Brown's an elite top 5 wide receiver in football. When A.J. Brown's chirping, he's a problem that you don't want. You can take the boy out of the pizza parlor, but you can't take the pizza parlor out of the boy. Yeah, look, I get it. Frank Reich and Doug P. simplified the offense for the great Nick Foles once Wentz went down. We were not complaining about winning then. Well, they haven't simplified it. I don't have faith that they can simplify it here. As much as I loathe AJ, Hurts does not notice a lot of open receivers. Hope he learns to be a smarter quarterback. Look, Hurts is doing what's being asked of him to an extent. And Jalen is not free of blame. He just does not deserve to be benched for Tanner McKee at this point. Hate Jalen the same way Duck hates Nick. We bitching about Hurts, but we could be Minnesota. Yeah. See, things could be much worse. The Minnesota Vikings had a quarterback that led them to 14 wins and let him go for the next guy. And look where they're at. Okay? It's not always greener on the other side. Kobe and Shaq won rings and still didn't want to play together. Maybe Hurts and AJ need to move on. They won a ring. Go do it separately now. Steve, it's great. Another great one there. Jalen does hold the ball too long a lot, though. Because everybody bitched that he took off too quickly. Everyone complained, well, he's going to his first read and then running. So now he holds onto the ball and goes through 2 or 3 reads, and that's a problem. Jalen just can't win. You are bringing in policing theory into sports. What? What did he say? Oh, I get it. Putting Tanner McKee out there will ruin Tanner's career ceiling. Don't do that to the man. Yeah. Dude, Tanner McKee, between the Saints, the Vikings, and a bunch of other teams, Tanner McKee is going to get you a first-round draft pick this offseason. You don't want to ruin that by throwing him out there and having him be, having his value drop because he's not good. Tanner might be able to read a defense a bit better and lead his receivers a bit better, but Hurts is probably the better overall quarterback. Yeah, Tanner might have the traditional quarterback assets a little bit better, but we don't know if Tanner's a leader. We don't know if Tanner can win football games when it matters most. We don't win when Hurts doesn't focus or asked to focus on AJ. Yeah. The point is they simplified the offense to maximize the quarterback strength. So that's what they should be doing now, and they're not doing it. He started whining, and they didn't address him, and now the entire locker room is in disorder. The locker room is definitely in disorder at this point. So you cannot get the ball out quick. Reading a defense, most of his plays are off-schedule passes where he's running and throwing the ball. Well, if he does that well, then just run that street ball style more often then. That's what he does well, then let him do it. Yeah, Steve's killing it today. I should have Steve on today. He has to look at all his options. Yes. Muchas gracias, Big Al. The question I want answered, is the problem fixable this year? That's the $1 million question. The $9.99 question is the $1 million question. Can Nick Sirianni figure out what can be done to fix it right now? And I don't know that he can. And what's fixable? Winning the division, is that fixing it? Winning 2 or 3 more games, winning the division, is that fixing the problem? And then losing in the first round? Probably not. What's the expectation that you have that this needs to be fixed with, right? If you want to get back to the Super Bowl, I don't know if the problem's fixable enough to get you back to the Super Bowl. I don't. But if Nick Sirianni finds a way to fix this and get us back to the Super Bowl, man, the chirping better end on those two guys forever. But is it fixable? I don't know. If the defense becomes elite again, it will be fixed. Can't have shit offense and defense. And so much is made, well, it's on the defense, shouldn't have to bail the offense out. They're paid to play too. That's what sets Jalen apart is he's calm, cool, and collected and can weather the storm in big games. Take that away. What is he really exceptional at? I mean, isn't that what you want? Don't you want a guy calm, cool, and collected, weathering the storms, playing well in big games? Isn't that what makes an elite quarterback? It's not the pretty spiral. It's not who can throw the best back shoulder throw. It's coming up big in big moments. The it factor. He's got the it factor. And that's what you want. If Sanders can go out and beat Las Vegas, maybe Tanner can too. Call plays. You have it with Hurts. Get those plays on film, regardless of how they work, so Hurts can visually see it. And then when he fails, you can't trade Tanner McKee. Or if he fails, you potentially lose the locker room even more by benching Jalen Hurts. You don't bench your captain, your Super Bowl MVP, your team leader for an unknown, just because maybe it'll help big picture. It's not fixable, but hey, one time I had a bad ankle. I couldn't stand on it, and I went 5-5 with a couple doubles, so maybe the Eagles can win. Let's see. If you have never put on football helmet and saw live action a football game, you don't know diddly squat. Quarterback has 2 seconds to go through his progressions and throw the ball. Yeah. I mean, it's so easy. Everyone says, well, he's got to read and react quicker. It's just so easy to do, mister. Just needed a good Thanksgiving break. Is that what it is? But then he goes out there and throws, that he wants Tanner McKee against the Raiders. It's all fixable if you see the problem. Sirianni right now can't see past his Nepo buddy. And it might be the end of his career in Philly. Phil getting the love to help. Yes. Look, plenty of love. I'm unemployed. Plenty of love today. Soldier Steve, you are analyzing this issue with precision, except for wanting to start Tanner McKee. I know it's sample size, but McKee's pro numbers look like this. 323, 66. Jalen Hurts has a better completion percentage than that, just so you know. He did as of like 2 weeks ago. I don't know if he still does. But look, and who are these numbers against? Week 18 backups? You got to look at the teams that he played, too. There's a reason why Jordan, who is very stingy with his brand, has pulled Jalen under his wing. Jordan sees. Look, great comment here as well. Dude, you're all on fire. This has been a great show, great conversation. I don't have to end it in 5 minutes, which is great. I don't have work to get to. But let me tell you something. The Jordan brand, no, not everybody goes under Jordan's wing. Michael Jordan isn't having private dinners with everybody under his wing. He is with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is seeking out Michael Jordan and Tom Brady in the offseasons on how to be a better player and a better leader and a better winner. What's Tanner McKee doing? I told you Sanders was the best choice between the rookies. Preach. I should trademark Nepo. You should, yeah. I love that you hung in here the whole show. If you've listened to Mic'd Up Super Bowl last year, what Josh Sweat say, they should give the MVP to the defense, real MVP. Look, that's true. And Josh Sweat did deserve MVP considerations in the Super Bowl. We talked about it live on this show. We did. Imagine if Hurts was yelling and cursing at players on the field. They would be calling for him to get traded. Absolutely. We're up to 34 concurrent viewers. Guys, like, subscribe, share. Today is fire today. You guys are killing it today with the comments, with the shares, the likes, everything. So keep it going. Let's make this the biggest trending in the AM we've had. I just need that subscriber number to go up. In my Southern Baptist preacher voice, I mean, we was calling for Jalen when he was the backup, and look, 2 Super Bowl appearances. Yeah. Look, I was a big Jalen Hurts fan. Maybe I am a little biased. I was a Jalen Hurts guy at Alabama. I was a Jalen Hurts guy at Oklahoma. I was a Jalen Hurts guy coming into the draft. I actually was pissed that the Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts because I didn't think there was a path for him to start with Carson Wentz because we didn't know what the Carson Wentz debacle of 2020 was going to be. So maybe I am a little biased on Jalen Hurts. But backups aren't always better. Week 18 backups pretty much is the Raiders. That's true. That's a fair point, okay? Hurts is not the primary problem. He's like the 7th or 8th on the list of problems. We know the primary coaching, O-line, defensive end, safety, cornerback, others. Yeah, look, exactly, Duck. The whole defense, not just Josh Sweat, the whole defense. That's true, and that's fine. But if you had to pick one player on the defense to award the MVP to in the Super Bowl, it would have been Josh Sweat. I forget the exact numbers, but he had a pretty big game. I sucked. That's why I had to brag about my 5-5 game. Gotcha. I was terrible at all sports I played, Elephant. I was never much of an athlete. I wanted to be. I wanted to be a baseball player, if you can't see, with all the baseball stuff behind me. There's a few Eagles things mixed in here. There's an eagle right there. I got my Masters hat right there. I got some boxing stuff there. I got some football stuff, but mostly it's baseball. And I sucked at it. There's a reason you have been a Jalen guy since college. Because I like winners. I like leaders. I like guys. I don't like drama. Okay? And Jalen just keeps drama away from his teams. Bad play calling and self-inflicted penalties will continue to cause us games. The penalties! We don't even talk about, like, we're an hour and 27 minutes in the show, Raheem, and you're the first person to bring up self-inflicted penalties. Thank you. Because we came off of 14. We only had 7. 7 is still too much. BCP made its first, debut of today's show. Absolutely spot on, Raheem, with this comment. Well, there was the 5 touchdown game at Polk High School. Yeah. Was it 5 or was it 4? Jalen Hurts is not the problem. It's offensive play calling. He already told us, why aren't we listening? We need an offensive identity. The fact that we are in week 14 now, Maurice, and we do not have an identity on offense is ridiculous. It's laughable. How can we not have an identity yet? That's on coaches establishing the identity. I sometimes wish Jalen was a little bit more transparent during press conferences, but at the same time, I understand keep the cards close to the chest. Yeah, look, yeah, I would like to see Jalen show a little bit more emotion. Yeah, I would love to see him be more honest. But then the transparency from Nick Sirianni, are you going to consider making a change in play calling? No. Well, that was as transparent as it comes. And we're pissed at that. You got to keep things close. You got to keep the drama in-house. Jalen's just doing what he does to keep, the leadership, keep the focus on him. And that's something that Jalen does well. He's keeping the focus and the attention on him and not the other players. I'm bad at everything sport, but I try hard too. I tried my whole life so hard, Elephant in the Room, and I was just such a bad athlete. I wanted to be a baseball. I wanted to be like my hero right there, Mr. Mike Schmidt. So bad. That's my Mike Schmidt poster right there. Just brought it home from the pizza shop. Some of the penalties are BS. Fun fact, the last 3 Dallas opponents have had over 100 penalty yards. How often do teams have 100 penalty yards? Yeah. I hate that Jey Uso will wrestle Cena in his final match. They are really pushing Jey, but he's so bad. I haven't watched wrestling. I like a minute of it in months, Marshawn. Months. I haven't watched it regularly in over a year now. I'm just, what the hell is this? Like, seriously. We knew by week 4 the offense 3-and-out issues were going to collapse the defense with us already says the run defense has been bad since game 1 of the year. Like, that's really the issue here. Again, the defense is not the number one blame. Vic Fangio is not the number one blame. But this defense has been getting gashed up the middle since the first play of the first game. Like, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. We have way too many 3-and-outs, which causes the defense to be on the field way too much. How many 3-and-outs did we have in the first quarter? Like, they were getting gashed on the first drive, Raheem, the defense. We do have too many 3-and-outs. The offense sucks. Jalen Hurts has been bad. Kevin Patullo should be fired. I get all that, and it's all accurate. But the defense deserves some portion of blame. This team did have an identity, smart, sound, conservative football without turning the ball over. AJ started his selfish act BS, and it all started to collapse. One bad apple can spoil the whole. If you get a pack of cheese and one slice of cheese is moldy, or if you get a loaf of bread and one slice of bread's moldy, don't you throw the whole loaf of bread out? It looks so bare at the shot with nothing on the wall. He didn't put anything up yet? I'm sorry. He should have decorated. He took off the, I don't know, he took off, when I was in there on Wednesday, he took off all the Little League sponsorship posters. I'm shocked at that. Well, Dom Mysterio's face turned me one. I don't know. I don't even care. I don't care at all. When I played basketball, I was the guy who rarely ever finished with points, but finished with techs. When I did play basketball, I was the guy that, per minute led in rebounds and steals. That's the only way I could stay on a basketball court was playing defense and grabbing rebounds. Wrestling is not the same. Sorry if you don't know what I mean. I say I legit thought Kane and Undertaker were brothers. Yeah, I don't even know how old I was when I realized that. Carlton Davis is where the run defense begins. So what's that telling us? That they're not playing well in run defense. Jordan Davis had a solid game. He was like 7 or 8 tackles. But Jordan Davis shouldn't be getting 7 or 8 tackles. He never should jump off the page. When I played ball, it was normally with 1 minute left to play. I was a defensive replacement a lot. What's the win-loss prediction? Well, I predicted 12-5. I guess 11-6 now. It's hard to imagine them only losing one more game, but they could easily win. They can easily go 4-1 to finish this season. Right? They're 12 games in. There's 5 left. Yeah. They can easily go 4-1. 3-2 is probable, but 4-1 is definitely not out of the realm of possibilities. When are we going to place the blame where it belongs? Why would you blame good old Jim Thome up there? What did Jim Thome ever do to you? Agreed. AJ has the disease of me right now. Agreed. AJ has the disease of me. AJ's a problem. I get it. 11-6 wild card on the road. 11-6 still wins the division. I hate to break it to you. Still wins the division. If you know the whole package of bread out, if you throw the whole package of bread out, didn't grow up poor. You take the no. I know my grandma wouldn't throw the slice of moldy bread out. She'd cut them all out and then use the rest of the bread in her breadcrumbs or her meatballs. No, they're not brothers. No. Davis and Carter underperforming in your opinion. 100%. Actually, I would say Jalen Carter's underperforming more than Jordan Davis this year as a whole. Through 13 weeks, Jordan Davis is playing better than Carter. That's my opinion. We held them to 10 points for a while, but the offense can't produce with bad play calling, banged up O-line, and penalties. Look, I get it. Look, I'm not saying the defense is the number one to blame here. I'm not saying that. But the fact that no one wants to put any blame on the defense does bother me. It is not Thome, but he built Philly sports. It's Bryce Harper. Got you. Oh, man. Tommy's smug face really bugs me. Oh, well. Sorry, I ain't taking it down. I'm afraid if I move that, everything else will just fall down around it. I bought the brothers angle for so long. Yeah. I think not being on the field for the Super Bowl banner drop week 1 started all the issues. Maybe. Now we're conspiracy theorists. Eagles probably lose again against the Chargers. The whole city panics and loses their mind. The Eagles win 4 in a row, and everybody jumps right back on the bandwagon like nothing happened. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that game plan, Rick. That won't upset me. Davis is not underperforming. He's been played better and more snaps. He played like 60-some% of the snaps this past week. He's played well overall. Fun fact, 4 of the 21 times a team has gone over 100 penalty yards has been against the Cowgirls. That's 20%. Wow. I'm not going to fact check you on that. I'm going to hope you're right on that. But wow, it's a huge point. Cowboys lines, if it's in Detroit wins, and that's good. Carter Spick got us looked at hard all season. There you go. Absolutely correct. No, I am not doing it. 0 chance. I know, Marshawn, that's what I'm saying. Oh, man. We're at the hour and 35 minute. We're 5 minutes into overtime, guys. If you haven't yet, like, subscribe, share. Let's go. We're having a huge show today, numbers-wise. We haven't raised the subscriber number much. There's not enough likes, but there's been a huge viewership on this show. It's a great momentum starter for this week. Justin Simmons will be the Shaq Barrett signing. Let's move on from Justin Simmons. Justin Simmons would come here and then retire 1 week later, okay? What's up, Kevin? How you doing today? AJ is definitely not the problem. The only person who continuously warned us about this offense and was the only one who showed some heart in that Bears game. That's a tough one for me to get behind. I don't propose trading A.J. Brown, just so you know. I understand that it might happen. But yeah. Sports was easy to me. Reading books for English class sucks. Is John a pronoun? What's a preposition? Oh, mister. I mean, I'm too old. I don't remember school. I'd fail all that stuff right now. Overtime, you ain't got shit to do. I don't. I have to cut it off before 2 hours because that's when StreamYard doesn't create clips anymore. You have to buy a Fox Pizza for watch parties to see if that changes things around. Yeah. I tuned in on Friday night. I was a little drunk. I don't know if you noticed. I tried to type one comment, and it took 3 tries to get my comment through. Yes, I do that. I don't always comment. Your show's pretty late at night for me, but I was tuning in on Friday night. Smashed out of my mind, but I was there. I'm waiting for Phillips to retire. I'm waiting for that too. Oh, man. You know, the worst problem with the Eagles is they've got us all arguing with each other. They're all probably in the locker room laughing at all the nonsense that fans are arguing over. We've blown a 14-point lead late in the game against the Broncos, a 21-point game to the Cowboys. Bad situation football at the end. Coaching has to be better. Coaching has to be better. This week is what Nick Sirianni gets paid to fix, Raheem. This week is it. John is a pronoun, a noun, a verb, a preposition. You name it, John is it. It is the John, yeah, exactly. The common is the most common of common nouns. It's basically Philly for that thing. I still hate the John. I hate the word John. I really do. Call me anti-Philadelphia. I hate it. I really do hate the word John and the life it's taken on. I really do. I really can't stand it. It's just too much for me. It really is. Anyway, guys, a lot of new people in the chat today, and I appreciate y'all. Raheem and Kevin and Susan's been newish. Warfighter newish. I appreciate you, Warfighter, big time. Some of the other names, I'm trying to remember some of the new names. They're too new for me to remember them all. But I appreciate you all tuning in today. We do this every morning for 90 minutes every day, Monday through Friday, plus other things. So make sure you're tuning into this channel and you subscribe and tell your friends. You can turn the dial off and you can turn YouTube up every single morning right here. All sports is fixed. It will be revealed in time. Yeah. John was better when it wasn't in the exactly. When John was just kind of like a little side slang thing. Well, how did Tank only have one snap? He didn't touch the ball once, one snap. I don't mean bench him, but Tank should be getting 10 touches a game. Why not? Flyers are up to 3rd place in division, beat Devils on Saturday. We play the Penguins tonight. Go Flyers. Bring some positivity to this city. Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Listen in the car. See, you can plug and play in the car. I wish I could verbally read out every comment, but yeah. It's easy. Turn the dial down, turn trending in the AM up. You ain't going to get this from John Kincaid in the mornings. You're not going to get this from whoever does the morning show on the other channel. Is that John Ritchie? They don't care about what you got to say. They just care about causing drama on their channels because drama sells. I kind of got to lean into the drama on the titles and the thumbnails to get the viewership in this week. But yeah, today was a good, positive day. We're at the 100-minute mark of this show today. Let's build upon this week, right, Adam? The subscriber number didn't go up, but man. After the Eagles win the Super Bowl, they need to focus on replenishing the O-line in the draft. The O-line is a major issue, obviously. Obviously, the O-line, we've tried to preach O-line issues for weeks on this show, and we're getting away from that today because of so many other things. Conspiracy inbound. Tank isn't getting more snaps for the coach to keep Barkley from becoming the next AJ. Barkley didn't ask for it. Coach has shown difference. Yeah, maybe they don't want Saquon to be complaining. I don't think Saquon would do that, but yeah. Do the Eagles need to smash the panic button? No, John. Dude, you got to lean into the drama in the titles and the thumbnails. And I didn't say they do need to panic. I said, do they? I'm asking a question, okay? Might have a little panic undertone to it, a little negative or drama undertone to it, but you got to lean into the drama in the titles to draw the people in and then keep them hooked with the great content. That's what you do, K1. If John is a noun, then that means a pronoun is the NFL version of a noun. We need Howie to come out and say something. Somebody's got to step up and say something. Yeah. Barkley's the guy that said, no, I don't need to go out for records and stuff like that. Saquon is the team player. Thank you very much. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet. You like this. We do this every day. Plus, I put a pre-recorded short show out every single day. We go live during every Eagles game for the entirety of the game. We do a lot, okay? This is what I live for. I created this show over years ago for the chat. It's all about the chat. It's not about my opinions. I start the show off, and I just go off your chat. That's all it is, Kevin. And make sure you tell your friends to sub. Everybody's opinion matters. We're not always going to agree, Kevin, but every opinion matters and needs to be heard. And I give everybody, as long as you don't put political or inappropriate stuff, every comment. I'm at 350 red comments today. You know how hard that is in the time frame that we've done this? Fixed it during week 4 instead of ignoring the problem. They should have fixed a lot of problems. Yeah, stay calm, Barkley. Barkley's lost a step this year. Doesn't mean he won't get it back next year. No need to panic yet, but we are looking like a first-round exit. Raheem, this is a team lining up for a first-round exit for sure. Paying Saquon in the offseason had proven to be a bad move. Howie Roseman had his worst season since he took the job back over from Chip Kelly. His worst offseason he's had. You had 10 draft picks not play. Saquon extension, unnecessary. Becton, Rodgers, Slay, all could be here still. He had his bad offseason. I'm not saying nobody's complaining about Howie Roseman. We could. Howie and Jeffrey are not going to say anything because they want Sirianni's Patullo play to fail. So he can ask again. Maybe. Thanks, guys. Thank you. We're not always going to agree, y'all. Yeah, like yeah, you want John Gruden. Yeah, I definitely. I was as adamant about your John Gruden comment last week as Nick Sirianni was about Kevin Patullo losing his job as play caller. He said no, and I said no. Okay, we're not always going to agree, but everybody's opinion gets put up there. Said it before, and I'll say it again. If we keep Dallas from getting the division and we don't lose to them in the playoffs, I'll be okay. Cannot give the cockroaches ammo. Exactly. Where are we with the poll question? An hour and 45 minutes into the show today. Who is most to blame? Nick Sirianni has won the poll at this point. 40 votes in. 45% of the votes went Nick Sirianni's way. 17% of the votes went Jalen Hurts' way. Kevin Patullo, 35%. And Vic Fangio, 3%. That means one person voted for Vic Fangio. I know. He's not the top blame. But he does deserve more. I love your love of Gruden, but he's still toxic nuclear. Yeah, it's not just with the Eagles and his play calling. It's just, I mean, he was involved in some pretty shady shit in his NFL time too. The Eagles need to run some I formation or pro set. Absolutely. Where's the I formation? He had Cam Latu out there for like 4 plays. Just make the defense who to stop. We ran Barkley and Tank one time 3-4 weeks ago. And guess what? It worked for a huge gain. And they haven't gone back to it yet. It's like when a play works out on the Eagles offense, Kevin Patullo crosses it off the play sheet and never goes back to it. I don't get it. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up for the day here. I'm going to call it a show. Get the shorts pumped out. We'll be back tomorrow. We didn't get into the Sixers. I had the Sixers box score up. We didn't get to talk much Sixers today. And I love the question in the Sixers postgame. Asked Joel Embiid about his thoughts on Maxey having to carry the load in the minute played and how he feels bad for Maxey that no one else, including himself, aren't stepping up. I wanted to get into that. We didn't get time today. But I'm sure we'll talk a lot more. I'm sure Nick Sirianni will talk today, and he'll give us more reason to bitch and moan tomorrow. Patullo's career might be over after the season. It might be. It might be. Steve, not just a great show for me, great show from you. Steve, Warfighter, Mista, Al, they were the stars of the day. Steve for his comments, the other 3 for the donations to my unemployment fund. Notice Phil didn't mention our losing Kenny G. I did not mention losing Kenny G. Thank you. not to be pessimistic, but is it really starting to feel like we are going to blow the division? I don't think we blow the division. I still think we win the division, but we are shaping up as a first-round exit. Warfighter, thank you very much. It was a great show today. Longest morning show we've done, I think to date. I don't think we've gone past the hour and 45-minute mark yet. Can't ever go over 2 hours, but yes, a show like this makes me want to do another show tonight, an afternoon show. Kenny G had a sensational. I don't think he did much yesterday, but maybe. No, how bad the play calling is. Sirianni has the last say. So because of it's his offense, but I don't think he knows how to call a game. Look, Nick Sirianni is inching closer and closer to the end. If he doesn't right the ship this week, this is Nick Sirianni's last chance to right the ship this week. And you got a tough game, tough matchup. Monday Night Football on the West Coast. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, guys, everybody have a great day. If you haven't yet, like, subscribe, share. You practice how you play, and the way we are playing, practice must be horrible. And that's my biggest concern. Because we've heard so many people speak about being unprepared. We're going to talk about practice a lot tomorrow. We are. Sirianni's time in Philly might be in weeks and not in months. Well, I don't know if he'd get fired mid-season, but god damn, that would be crazy. If I had a time machine, I would go back in time and make Kevin Patullo late for the interview. Did he even have to interview, mister? Like, that's what I've always asked. Anyway, we got to wrap this up. Bring all these great thoughts tomorrow to Tuesday's show. I hope everybody has a great Monday. It's going to be cold. Snow in the forecast tonight and tomorrow, so be safe. Get the shovels out. Get the salt ready. I just sold my snowblower yesterday, so we're going to get 20 inches of snow tomorrow. Everybody have a great Monday, guys. Go Birds. Bubbles up.